Today marks 1231st day sharing lessons I learn and continue to learn with all of you. My hope that these insights will inspire you, support your dreams, help you achieve your goals, and really empower you to become the person that you want to become. Today speak about matrix, living in a matrix. I think there is a lot of signs that we are living in a matrix, and I think that it's very, very important to understand okay, how to live a free life, how to have freedom in our life. I think until we understand that we are living in a matrix that is designed to live a certain way, until we build that awareness, I think that we are not able to really leave that matrix. When I think about my life, I always used to think that something is off. So I always had some kind of belief that there is something more in life than just living in that one way of living. Because there's so many signs that we're living in a way that is designed by the social norms rather than what is the norm for you. What is the standard in your life? What is the standard internal standard on internal norm? I mean that's supposed to be the most important norm to live by, not social norms. Now I understand that some norms are important rules and that we don't hurt other people. Like all those things are right. But when you think about really living a fulfilling life and you really pursue something meaningful, joyful, I think at that moment we need to stop looking what other people do. We need to start looking what I want to do. So today we'll share just 10 things that we're able to look into, like these small signs that we're living in a matrix, and we need to really remove ourselves of that matrix. So number one is that we follow a default life path without questioning. Now, one thing that some people love it, and that's totally fine. But we're not supposed to accept life path just because other people living that. So that means going to school, going to college, university, getting a job, buying a house, having a family. So that's nothing wrong with that. But understanding, okay, do you want to do that? Do you want to have 9 to 5 job? Do you want to really focus on having a house? Or maybe you want to do total different. Like maybe you want to rearrange things just to make sure that you live in life that how you want to live. Because I think that no one's supposed to really question your life path. Because now sometimes it looks weird for other person that's 90%, 99% people live in one way, the default path, and you live in total differently. That will be you will be weirdo. But I think that's a good weirdo. Because when you really pursue something and you start loving it, it starts to live fulfilled life. Then start people saying, oh maybe I'm not living the way how we're supposed to live. Because I think that people who really get out of the matrix start to live a different way, different path. They start to other people start to question their own ways of living. And that's a beautiful part. People who get out of default path, who question that, inspire people to really question their path as well. And this is very, very powerful. Number two, you feel stuck in a repetitive cycle. I think that Matrix is built to really live in that cycle year after year. And that's where the resume says like how many years you have experience. Oh, I have 10 years experience in accounting. I have 10 years in project management. I have but one thing is that I learned is that those 10 years of experience, what it majority of the time means is that you keep repeating the same year over and over again. So you have 1 year repeated 10 times. 1 year repeated 10 times. Now there is small changes in that year, I understand. But in general, the foundational things are always the same. And I think that if you want to live an adventurous life, sometimes we need to really say, okay, what do I want to do? What kind of things would I like to do in my life? Just I could really have adventure. I could have some joy of living, bliss, wonder. There's so many emotions when you look into that. I think that every single person is supposed to do research on emotion, possible emotions, ask what they could do to really attract those emotions into my life. Because when I think keep repeating the same cycle, repetitive cycle, we lose emotions because we're just doing the same thing over and over again. How are we supposed to have different emotions if you're doing the same thing? That's of course we feel stuck. And that's again part of being matrix in the matrix. Number three is you addicted to distractions. I think this is a big, big thing is that distractions. All social media, TV, all the things are distractions because the more time you spend in distraction, like games, like TV shows, movies, all the things, the longer you spend in those distractions, the longer you stay in the matrix. But when you're able to really cut all those distractions and start working on your freedom, start working on yourself, start understanding yourself, go spend more time by yourself in the nature. I think that's so much easier to really move outside because 90%, 99% of people are doing social media, distractions, all those things, and really, and that is keeping them in the matrix. I like it the advice that I don't remember who said it, but I really like it. Until you understand how to use social media, until you understand how to use those tools, don't use it because that is distraction. And it's very, very good to cut off, understand yourself, and then go back. Even alcohol, I think that this alcohol partying is based on matters. Start to believe that that is something that you're supposed to do. I did partying in the past, and I don't like partying anymore because there are so many more meaningful things. Like I love reading books. I love connecting with people. I love having deep conversations. So partying or having deep conversation in a coffee shop with someone or having it, of course, that to me, this will be much more valuable. Being able to connect with someone, understand where they're coming from, I understand their ideas. It's just not even close. Number four, fear controls your decisions. And one thing is that I think about fear, and I think that fear is one thing that you don't have fear when you are alone. You don't have fear when you are alone. But what I mean by that is that we have fear because there's other people included in that picture. So that means that fear of judgment, other people, fear of failure. But fear of failure is not because of you. You would pursue anything if you just by yourself. But fear of failure is coming because you don't want to have again judgment. You don't want to have been you don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to be left alone. And you want to be part of the community. So being able to say like, I'm okay to be by myself. I'm okay to be with me by myself. I think that being able to really say that I love myself. I okay going to even nature and be by myself if that's the case. So when I think that the more you love yourself, the less you're afraid of failure. The less fear you have. Because majority of fears is coming from external things. Because we are afraid of external things. But when we're able to really internally say that I love myself. I love that I'm able to really pursue things. There's a lot of people who are not able because they are held back by the fear. But I love so much myself that I'm willing to really take those actions and get embarrassed because most likely I will get embarrassed. I will be judged. I will get disappointed until I will get succeeded. Until I will get success. I think that we are afraid of something that will certainly happen, at least in some people, because you're not able to be great to every single person. Some people will hate you, some people love you, and I think that that's knowing that it really allows you to really move out of matrix because I think that matrix builds us to really be afraid to lose, be afraid of being embarrassed because I think that matrix teaches us to really be part of community. But I think that the most important part is being part of you. And when I think that when you are part of you, it's much easier to find people who are like you. Because if you are trying to fit in matrix, I think that that's of course you can be part of the community who want to be part and fit in that matrix. But when you get out and start to see different, I think that you're able to connect with different kind of people as well. You work for money instead of freedom. So that's number five. You work for money instead of freedom. This is a big, big thing. Money, I think that it depends. When you think about you work for money and work for freedom, is it depends what do you think that is important to buy. If you think that it is important to buy a car, if you think that it's important to buy a phone, if you important to buy TV, all those liabilities, that means you're working for money. But when you start looking here, what I'm able to buy my freedom, I'm able to buy time back, I'm able to buy investments, I'm able to buy assets, I'm able to buy uh, investments into myself because I'm the most important asset. So then being able to look at what really elevates you, what elevates your resources, what elevates you. I think that's when we start looking through how to work for free. So where you allocate your money, because I understand sometimes you need to work for a bit to build a foundation, allocate that money wisely, and of course you can work for the freedom. Number six, you believe the narrative without questioning. You believe narrative without questioning. I think that is such an important topic. When you hear something, even a very intelligent person saying something, one of the most important questions you ask is where that information is coming from. How did you validate it? How did you check that information? Because I think that so many times we just believe information because some smart person told. But that information that they told was based on their opinion, not on true facts. That's why I like politics, because politics is 90% is opinions and feelings. I like that person, I don't like that person. Why is that? I just don't like it. And I think that we're not able to have really clear conversations on opinions. So that means every single thing about narratives, about life, if you don't question things, narratives, that means you're living the matrix. But when you start questioning, because matrix is something that you need to question. What are the paths, everything, how we do things, why we do things, who build that way. I think it's very, very important to question that. Of course, sometimes we need to just execute, 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 but once in a while to be able to reflect, to be aware, and to question things, just to make sure that we're able to really find a way to live a life that is worth living for us. Number seven is you think happiness comes from external validation. Again, this is very, very important. Matrix is teaching us to really seek validation. Matrix is it's like status, money, because that's social approval. A lot of times that success is built by validation, by approval, by all those things that is shown on the social media and TV and all the things that's what success truly means. But I think that when we really start to questioning that as well, we start to realize that in true happiness, true fulfilling, true fulfillment comes from internal battles and overcoming those battles and being able to really have an inner peace, because I think that inner peace is one of the most successful things that you can achieve. Because every single person that I see, and very successful people, millionaires, they still battling internal struggles. So being able to really have the inner peace, I think that's a true success. Not the money, because so many people who are successful are living terrible life because in other people eyes they seem successful, but internally they are broke. Because I think that that's the true wealth, have inner peace, and how much inner peace you have, that's how wealthy you are. Number eight is you ignore your intuition. I think this is very, very powerful, and intuition is a muscle as well. Like most things in life is a muscle. So knowing that if you stopped listening to intuition and then you took action because that social environment was told you to do, that means that we're losing the power of intuition. So at some point we can lose all intuition whatsoever, and then oh, this person has a great intuition. That person has great intuition because they take advantage of that and they listen to intuition. I think that sometimes if you want to really bring back the intuition, sometimes you need to ask a question, what my gut is telling about that, and then really start executing based on that. I think it's very, very important. Now, there is, of course, cavities here, and then we need to understand that the gut feeling not supposed to be like some kind of fear, because I said, where is that gut feelings coming from? Because we're not supposed to stopping us from really pursuing our opportunities that really could change our lives. But gut feeling is a great, and intuition is very, very powerful tool when you actually use it. Number nine, you rarely experience true presence. Our lives now are very, very fast paced. We run, we run, we run, we run, we run. We are living in the past, we live in the future, and we're not able to experience what is present. What is in the present? What is in front of you? Being able to explore the sky, nature, yourself, your family, being able to have the quality time. I think that because we became so much more effective with our time with planes and internet and laptops, we're able to do so many things in such a short period of time. And now it seems that we always need to catch up. We always behind. I think that sometimes being able to understand that presence is the key. And I think that people who are able to be present, those people who actually achieve massive success. Because when we live in the past, when we live in the future, that means we don't live in the present, and we are not. If we're not living in the present, it means we're not taking actions that really moves us closer to the future. So being able to really look into how we could be more present, because presence builds productivity, presence builds inner peace, presence gives you a better attitude, presence really makes sure that you move out of your matrix. And last one, number 10, that I want to mention is that you think that you are free, but you are not. And it's interesting, there are so many people who say that working 9 to 5 in some places like slavery. Because even the peasants in the past used to have some free days and they're able to do whatever they want. And now, like, you're working 200 something days per year. And you don't have anything at the end of the year a lot of times. Or you have barely something to show. I think that being able to ask you, what do I need to do? Maybe work a little bit harder for the next 5 years, but when you work for the next 5 years, you're able to set you up for freedom for the next 20, 30, 40 years, 50 years, depends when you start. And this is a very, very interesting thing. Being able to really leave the matrix by investing your time today. And it seems that 5 years is so much, even 10 years. Those 10 years seem so long. But if you think when I think about the years that you will live on Earth, and some places like 50 years you will still live. So is it worth it to invest 10 years or 50 years that you could live a free life outside of Matrix rather than inside? But Matrix is an interesting topic. Of course, everyone has different opinion on that. There's no facts. But I think that it's very, very important to live the way how you want to live. Not listen to the default, not what society says, but really being able to understand you. And again, this is one thing that we need to do: constantly reflect, constantly journal, constantly be aware what we want. So I hope you choose one. I hope you choose a win, and see you tomorrow.